Hey, Moose fans, welcome to episode 7 of This is Moose Country, the official podcast of your Halifax Mooseheads, joined as always by the one and only Brad Cuzner. We got a great guest coming up on the show, Brad. Zach L'Heureux stops by live from Mexico during his little break.
Coming in from Mexico, yeah. We appreciate his time because night one on vacation, and he took some time for us. But great guy, great interview.
Great interview. I was surprised the quality from a hotel room in Mexico was as good as it was.
Yeah,
so,
a little interruption too. He had a little
room
service, but
they didn't come on. But
didn't come on. No.
And another great interview coming up. That'll be a future podcast. The great Alex Tanguay going to stop by in person to chat with us. He'll be in Moose Country this week to take in a game, and so it'll be cool to talk to him.
Yeah, one of the very few who have their jersey retired in the in Moose Country, so it'll be exciting to chat with him.
Yeah, scored a game winner in the Stanley Cup Finals to clinch the cup for Colorado. So Alex Tanguay, can't wait for that one coming up in a future pod as well. A couple of segments today on the way. Top 3 Super Bowl halftime shows of all time. Kind of topical after Kendrick Lamar on Sunday night. So we'll get your thoughts and my thoughts on that. And also going to do a little fantasy draft in honor of the upcoming Four Nations tournament, which we're all looking forward to, of course. Lots of Nova Scotia content on Team Canada. So we'll choose our all-time starting lineups for Team Canada. You don't want to give us any hints what you've got coming up?
There will be, I'm guessing there will be a Nova Scotian on the team at some point. Yeah, on one of the teams. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we got to start by, had a couple of home games here in Halifax. A loss for the Moose and a win for the Moose in their most recent one. I had Sunday off, caught some Super Bowl action myself. What'd you do on your Sunday?
Yeah. Also got the Super Bowl. It was, a little. I don't want to say boring, but listen, a little
one-sided.
Anyone who's an Eagles fan is happy.
Yeah.
I'm not a massive football fan, but for those who are in my shoes, you just want a close game. Right? I'm sure everybody who's a Philly fan is over the moon and don't care and would have won by 100
I was going to say,
points.
more importantly, people who aren't Chiefs fans
are
pretty happy because there's a lot of people rooting against them,
there
right?
would be a lot of people, those who are non-Swifties and non-Moose fans. But as we mentioned today in the L'Heureux interview, Scotty is a massive Swiftie. So you were probably going for the Chiefs, were you?
Well, my family was, and I support my family.
Yes.
So I am
big family.
I'm a big football guy, long-suffering Miami Dolphins fan. So don't get to see many Super Bowls. I actually haven't. I don't know if I've seen any Super Bowls in my lifetime. Dan Marino was in one when I was just a kid. So
you would thrive in Miami.
Yeah.
He would be a Miami guy.
Something about that just doesn't jive, right? But walk down here today. Are you tired of the cold? Because I'm getting tired of the cold. I'm tired of going outside and have to shovel every time I go out and clear off the ice from my vehicles.
Yeah, it was a tough walk down. It's I don't have many hair left, but they're cracking off when
you
it's
get that
cold
cold spot right in the floor.
Yeah. It's been messy. So, and I'm not smart enough to wear boots. I had the dress shoes on. So I was slipping and sliding and almost pulled my groin. So it was a good start to the day.
The hills of Halifax are treacherous.
Yeah.
I almost went down yesterday, and I've seen many people go down, and I think I have pretty good balance.
It's hard walking up anyways, even in the summer, walking straight up that hill, but add a little ice to it.
Yeah.
Makes it more interesting.
Yeah. Well, we should get to these hockey games. Mooseheads lose 3-1 to Blainville Boisbriand on Friday night. It was an empty netter to make it a 3-1 game. Hung in there against what I really think they're better team than their record shows. Armada, I think they have 27 or 28 wins now. They're doing well, but one of the better teams we've seen here at Scotiabank Center this season in terms of they're zipping it around. They look like a well-oiled machine and still just a young team that's really going to be even better in the next couple of years.
Yeah, they were exciting to watch. They got, I think, 5 guys rated in the NHL draft. Carbonell being one, rated in the, I believe, second round. So a little bit of a bull. He's fun to watch.
Yeah.
He's
late birthday. That's why he's eligible this year, right?
Yeah, and he played well. You can tell he's got the skill, and the work ethic, but their whole team, like you said, well oiled. Like the third line, they have an identity. They work. Lots of skill throughout the lineup. They have Matteo Norbert, who's in their second line, who's kind of
scored a goal.
Yeah, great player. A couple D. They got,
what do you think of Villeneuve? I think he's dynamite.
Unbelievable. He was, for their power play, they'd just give it to him, and he'd just go end to end and then set up himself. He was, and not draft eligible until next year.
Yeah.
Coming in,
salivating.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and coming in at 5 foot, it looks like he's 5'2", but about 5'8" and 140 pounds.
Yeah.
But my God, is he ever effective?
He's
out there.
smooth.
Yeah.
No, Moose hung in there. Like I said, a good team. We get a goal from Brady Schultz that tied the game at one point, and then the Armada eventually get that game winner from Goryanov, who was also been a massive addition for them. Picked him up from Charlottetown, 20-year-old Euro, and just a heavy shot, scoring like a machine right now. So they'll make some noise in the playoffs.
It's interesting with them because they have Fashon before the break. You trade away your best player and the leading scorer in the league.
They're better.
They've
now.
almost been doing better, yeah. And Goryanov with Carbonneau, like you would think, young player like Carbonneau, you would think, you're trading away the best player in the league, my line mate, and then the chemistry between them. They're playing well together. He's been a beast. So
really set themselves up for the future too.
Yeah, they're looking good for next year. And that trade, you don't know if there's anything coming back, but you got to think.
It's a boatload of picks. There's picks going back, and there's going to be a young star from Rimouski coming over to Blainfield for sure. Yeah,
exactly. Too bad we already got their best young star.
That's right,
Queen Kennedy.
That's right, suckers.
Yeah.
So again, I wanted to mention Jacob Steinman. It seems like every game we talk about, hey, Jacob Steinman was good, but he was good again. 31 saves on 33 shots in that game. Second star. He's basically a star every game the Mooseheads are playing right now. He's just on fire.
Yeah, and he does a great job at it seems calming the guys down.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of and we're not gonna you don't want to directly compare Rousseau to Steinman, but Rousseau would get in those flurries and he'd make all the saves, but it was like an exciting, dramatic. I find Steinman calms the play down a lot more, where you don't get in those flurries. He just kind of eats it and sucks things up. Yeah. But
great at handling the puck too.
Great at handling the puck, which is a defenseman's dream. Not needing to go back to get it, and he loves playing the puck too, which is it's fun to watch. But he's been incredible. It's we've talked about it before. Coming over from Moncton, top team in the country, you get traded to Halifax, who's obviously not where Moncton is. It would be pretty easy to pack it in, and he's been incredible. Maybe the best goalie in the country since Christmas.
Well, CHL goalie of the week, 2 weeks running, coming into this week anyway. 943 save percentage with Halifax to date, which is incredible. That's a phenomenal number. If you look at the stats, it's heads and tails above anyone else in that stretch anyway. So and
coming, like we said, coming to a team who's lower in the standings, you would think that would drop, and it's actually only gotten better since it's only gotten better since he left Moncton. So it's a very impressive.
Yeah, tip of the hat to him for sure, and he was good again in a 2-1 victory on Saturday night, Moose Fight Cancer night. Those purple jerseys on display. And it was a great night for the Mooseheads there. I see Braden McPhee score a goal in that game for the second year in a row. Obviously a very meaningful game for him, as every year. He lost his mother during the 2023 playoff run to cancer, and so emotional moment. You see him get the ovation from the fans. They all know it, and it's special to be there to share in that with him. And then Callum O'Coin's first career goal as a member of the Mooseheads was a big one, the game winner, in fact, and nice little forehand backhand.
Yeah, no, a great goal by Callum. You love to see it. A guy that has kind of been put into a role with us. I think there's more skill there, coming up. And talking to Quinn Kennedy, actually saying that they kind of grew up together and always had chemistry. And so nice to see some skill come out. And then, with the McPhee stuff, it's pretty neat you look at there's some things that you get to do and some things that happen over your career that are bigger than hockey, and that one there is bigger. So it's an incredible moment for him, 2 years in a row, and the celebration kind of said it all. He was waving the jersey and jumping in. He's got energy anyways, but he brought it after that goal, so it was great to see.
Yeah. And again, special night for everybody's touched by cancer. Talked to Justin Chira's pregame. His father Scott is currently going through stage 4 colon cancer. So our thoughts are with the Chiras family as well. It's everyone in that building has been touched one way or another, whether it's directly with a sibling or a parent or a grandparent. No, special night. Those jerseys still up for auction. In fact, if you want to check it out on elevateauctions.com, put your bid down in one of those purple jerseys. They hold special meaning, so that's why they always seem to get such a big price as well. So, again, Steinman great in that one. Another 22 saves. Mooseheads come away with a win. It was the farewell game to Acadie Bathurst. Last time we'll see them in Halifax. Kind of strange.
Yeah,
to see them go.
Yeah.
Right?
It'll be interesting. They've had a great run over the years, but I think except for the past 2 games, we're happy to see them go. It was a
long drought
for a while. Yeah. But no, it'll be neat to see. Newfoundland team, St. John's come in, and I'm sure there's a lot of fans that want to get over to watch a couple games over there.
Who wouldn't?
Yeah.
And I know that Newfoundland actually had at least one person in the building watching from the press box to kind of take in the game experience in Halifax. As we like to think that we try to set the bar in terms of in-game entertainment in our league, and so taking things in, talking to President Brian Urquhart too to get some ideas and. It could be a great rival for Halifax.
Yeah,
couple of fun East Coast teams.
Not many great ideas coming from Brian himself.
No, they're all us, right?
Yeah. But no, it's good. He seemed very open and willing to kind of work together. I believe he worked with a couple of the teams in the past that were over in Newfoundland. So they're excited.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of excitement, we got 3 rival games coming up here starting Thursday night. Cape Breton's in town. The Eagles are here. They've really turned things around here in the second half, as we expected they would. They're continually kind of climbing the standings right now. So that's going to be a tough game for the Moose. And then it's back-to-back with the Moncton Wildcats Saturday night against the Cats in Moncton. And then back here on Heritage Day Monday. It'll be a good one as well. Monday afternoon at 2:00. Halifax, Moncton. We get the Steinman versus Rousseau matchup that everybody's kind of been waiting to see, I think.
Listen, it's going to be exciting. Rousseau has done so much, and we've talked about him 100 times, and we've talked about Steinman 100 times on this podcast, but
it's the Rousseau and Steinman podcast.
It is,
so we're changing the name.
But he's done so much for us, and going to Moncton, hasn't had the best start. He's a gamer. We all, kind of feel that he's going to get his game back and be ready for playoffs. But, it's going to be interesting. Steinman has a chip on his shoulder, and he'll be ready to rock. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah,
and I know we'll have a great welcome back for the guys that were traded to Moncton as well. Moose fans are going to show them lots of love because they may be playing for the enemy now, but they just. Beloved, especially Rousseau, just a legend that will never be forgotten in Halifax. And I have all the confidence in the world that he's going to help turn things around in terms of his stats anyway, going down the stretch, because he's gone through a little rough patch right now. Some things his fault, some things not. And I know he'll pick it up.
And turn things around. He's still on the best team, one of the best teams in the country. So he's doing okay.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not like he went there and he's got a 643 save percentage. It's just not the Rousseau that we're used to seeing.
We talked about it too, though, in the office. We were like, he's stopping 15 of 19 shots. He has always played better hockey when he's facing 40 shots. It's just how he is, and it's got to be funny going from that sort of thing. Even when the Mooseheads were doing really well, they still gave up a lot of shots, and he faced a lot. So he was never really facing those numbers in the teens, really. And so he likes to get dialed after he, faces kind of gets warmed up with the first 25.
Then gets going.
So that's going to be different for him.
And with Moncton, I haven't watched consistently, but there's got to be periods you're getting 1-2 shots, right? They're that dominant that, it's for a guy like that who loves to be dialed in, loves to have the pressure on him, to all of a sudden, your pressure comes from stopping shot 7 and 8 instead of 38 and 48 kind of thing, right? So it's interesting. I'm sure it'll be fine. It's an adjustment, but it'd be a big difference going from 45 a night to 15 a night.
Yeah, exactly. So looking forward to those matchups. It's on the road in Moncton on Saturday and back here in Halifax for Heritage Day Monday at 2 o'clock. And, of course, Cape Breton Thursday night. So lots of fun on the way this week for the Mooseheads. And, we talked about Super Bowl Sunday night. I think we'll roll into segment number 1 here. We're going to do our top 3 Super Bowl halftime shows of all time. We'll get yours, Brad, and then I'll give mine as well. I want to hear what you have to say. I know you're not a huge football guy, so I don't know how far back in history your halftime show watching goes.
Yeah, with the 8 or 9 concussions that I have, my memory doesn't go back that far anyway. So, but I did some research on it. I was watching some video today. So I think, and in no particular order.
I'm putting mine in particular order.
Yours in particular order. Jeez, that's lots of pressure. We'll start off with the Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Eminem, 50 Cent, that crew.
Unreal.
Growing up, that was kind of a big part of my my past. So I think having all those guys and just consistently one coming out, all of them kind of had big songs. So getting a little bit of time, on each person was kind of neat. And then bringing in, I know, I wasn't a massive fan of Kendrick this time, but he was included in that run there. Yeah. So I would say that they would be in there. I have the Bruno Mars and Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Oh, yeah. That was a good combo.
Bruno's, yeah. And different genre, different styles altogether. Yeah. But
Bruno can kind of do it all genres.
He's
though,
incredible.
Right?
Yeah, he's incredible. And then Chili Peppers would be probably top band of all time. So anything that they touch, I'd be a fan of. But Bruno just brought the energy.
Chili Peppers one I've never seen in concert, but always kind of like that would be a cool one to go see.
That was number 1 on the bucket list. I got to see them in Vancouver and nailed it. Yeah, unbelievable. And then number 3 would be a little bit different, probably a little softer, but I do remember it was the U2 one. Right. After 9/11, and I just remember having they played 3 or 4 songs. It was pretty quick, but then they had the backdrop that flowed through all of the people who passed away at 9/11. U2's incredible, but they made it more about that moment than it was about the Super Bowl, which I thought was pretty neat. But they would be 2 for energy and songs, 1 for kind of meaning of the songs. But they would be the top 3.
All right.
What do you got?
Number 3 for me it's a personal thing for me because one of my artists I grew up on through my family that I love, Paul McCartney, in 2005. Right. Did some great songs, Drive My Car, Get Back, Live and Let Die, and then the whole Super Bowl stadium singing Hey Jude I thought was pretty cool. Yeah. And so McCartney, number 3 for me. Then at number 2, I had the Dr. Dre, Eminem, Snoop, Mary J, 50 Cent. 50 hanging upside down was cool. And I thought that performance, like the staging, that's kind of what the Super Bowl halftime show should be in terms of performance. Eminem, Kendrick Lamar did great in that one as well. I love 90s hip hop. So again, my era. So that was awesome.
I could see you with the hat turned sideways, pants down low with the big chains. That would be your style.
Well, maybe not chains, but
in Miami.
In Miami.
In Miami.
And number 1, I think it was 2007, Prince.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't consider myself a real Prince fan or anything, but watched that. But unbelievable showman, him wailing on the guitar solo for Purple Rain while it started to rain. It looked like crazy slippery on that stage. And I think they even asked him, like, hey, it started to pour. Do you want to cancel? And he's like, can you make it rain harder?
Yeah.
And
Rock star.
no, it was
Yeah.
a cool show, and I really enjoyed that. He threw a little Jimi Hendrix in there too, so that gained some extra points for me because I like the old stuff. So
A performer.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, very proud of neither of us for saying JT and Janet Jackson. So that's
Yeah.
that's a good
We
one.
held off.
Yeah.
No, those are our Super Bowl. What'd you think of this one? Kendrick Lamar's not really my thing, so it didn't really do a lot for me this time.
Yeah, it's so reading about it after. I guess there's a lot. Shots at Drake. He had the ex-girlfriends up.
Yeah.
There's kind of
He's
meeting.
so fast. I can't keep up.
Yeah. Well, it seemed two things for me. I think I didn't know many of the songs. I think he has. I saw him in Vancouver, and I really enjoyed his show. Knew more songs, I thought. It seemed like he went maybe more of a new album. I'm not really sure. But it is. I was saying last night to a friend. I think it's more about the show. There wasn't anything that was like very exciting.
Yeah.
And
I
going
like the
through
Buick Grand National. That was a cool car.
very cool. Yeah, and the fact that they fit so many people in it was crazy. Yeah. But you would think that like it is more about the show, I think, at that point. And it just didn't seem like there was any wow moments. He brought out Serena Williams and SZA and that, but there was no wow, look at this.
Yeah.
And normally you got fireworks and people hanging. Lady Gaga was swinging around from the rafters, and so I'm sure those that are Kendrick fans were extremely happy, and all the old guys in our office had no idea what was going on and who SZA was or anything like that. So
I guess that's what it did. It made me feel old. So.
Yeah, exactly. But wasn't the biggest fan. I'm sure if I hated Drake like everybody else, then I would have loved it.
Yeah,
But,
exactly.
yeah.
But, all right, those are our top 3 Super Bowl halftime shows. Would love to hear from you on those as well, from those who are watching and listening. Chime in whenever you can. Moving on, we want to talk a little Four Nations hockey. It's kicking off this week. Very excited for it. Happy that Sid is not injured and he's playing.
Big news.
Yeah, it's huge news. Like we got Marchand, we got McKinnon, we got Crosby. It's pretty exciting because we've really been deprived of Olympic hockey during the prime of Crosby's career. Really, he was still pretty young when he scored the golden goal in 2010. And then we haven't seen a whole lot of best on best in the last number of years. So pretty excited for the Nova Scotians in particular.
To think too, I mean,
Plus
Crosby.
that McDavid guy, sorry.
Well, yeah, exactly. To think that, Nate and Sid played together in the World Championships. So they got a little taste of playing with each other. But, best on best, Nate and Sid haven't played together. McDavid and Sid haven't played together. And then Sid kind of had the torch of best player for so long.
Yeah.
McDavid's kind of in that transition of taking it. I think Nate's kind of putting up a fight about that. But to not have those three really play together at any moment, it'll be really cool to see them share the ice. And then you look at the, specifically the ice for the power play, because the power play right now,
only one puck.
Sam Reinhart, Cale Makar, Sid, Nate, and McDavid. It's
nasty.
Like unbelievable. And did you see Marchand's quotes on it yesterday? So they said, if you're killing penalties, what do you do about that? And he said, I'd probably just put 3 goalies in the net and hope for the best kind of thing. So
he's been on fire this year with his quotes.
Yeah. I mean, he always is, but
Yeah.
even more now. But it'll be interesting to see. What did you think of Drew Doughty being the lead ad?
I think it's safe. He's an experienced veteran that's worn the Canadian jersey a number of times, even going back to the 2014 Olympics, he was there. And just a reliable veteran that knows he'll be great in the room, knows how to get it done. Personally, pulling as a Mooseheads fan and a Calgary Flames fan, pulling for Mac Weegar to get in there, but I think Doughty's a solid pick.
Yeah, absolute gamer.
Mm-hmm.
Like they talk about when he was 18, 19 in Vancouver and, playing at that level and to be able to step up your game so much. So great choice. It would have been nice if Weeks was there, but I'm sure he's in Cabo somewhere or whatever, enjoying his 8 days off.
Exactly.
Yeah, it could be worse.
Americans gonna be a crazy good team too. Like they have so many to choose from. So many. Their goaltending as well is so deep, and no, that'll be a major challenge for Canada. Looking forward to that matchup.
Really, all of them. Like you look at Finland. Finland's always hard to play against. Sweden have a lot of studs. The Americans are, they're kind of built similar to Canada. You got the Kachuk brothers, JT Miller. Like those guys play pretty tough. But Hellebuck, Hellebuck and Ottinger, they're two of the best in the league.
Yeah.
And Swayman.
Yeah.
So it's a scary trio there, but it'll be fun hockey. Like you talk about best on best. For a guy like Doughty coming back off an injury, it's like not only do you have to get back to the NHL level, you got to amp that up to be. You're not playing against third, fourth liners anymore. You're playing against first liners. Every shift. Yeah. So it's it'll be great to watch.
Too, I wish Russia would get it together
with
their
and
because we need them back in these events as well in terms of hockey. So if their government could figure it out and become good people, that'd be great.
Maybe a little bit bigger of a discussion than this pod.
I guess. We won't go into politics.
Out of our pay scale, But
we want to see Ovechkin and Malkin.
Yeah, tell us what you think of Putin.
But with that, we should do a little fantasy draft here. Do you want to start with forward number one? We do our three forwards back and forth, and then do a couple of D?
I think so. We're going to do a draft, top Canadian lines.
Yeah.
I think we go anywhere.
Okay.
So
okay.
Yeah. If you want to take top goalie.
All right. I'm making you pick first, by the way.
That's completely fine with me. There's a player I had in mind for the top draft. His name is Wayne Gretzky.
Oh.
I will take him as my top. Yeah, he's just an up-and-comer, but I think he's got some potential.
All right. Brad takes Wayne. I will take the magnificent Mario Lemieux.
Okay, that's a pretty good start. I will go to the back end. I will take Paul Coffey.
All right. Coffee for Brad.
You got to track who we...
I'm just going to follow you every time. And if you're doing D, then I'm going to do D. I thought this guy was I don't know, I'm torn between two. But I got to go Scott Niedermayer. He was unbelievable as the captain. The 2014 Olympics. You got to go for him on D.
Okay, I will take Nova Scotia boy. I will take the captain, Sidney Crosby.
All right. Sidney Crosby, I guess that's a decent pick, right?
Yeah.
He's done all right in these games.
Yeah, 25-0, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to go another old school guy for my next forward, man who played both with the Quebec Nordiques and, of course, had a wonderful career with the Colorado Avalanche after they relocated, Joe Sakic.
Great pick.
Great leader on that 0-2 Salt Lake. That was one of my favorite Olympics to watch, 0-2.
Yeah, that was
Hockey was
incredible.
Great then.
And probably one of the coolest plays, the Lemieux. It was actually to Korea, but the through the legs.
Yeah.
No pass.
Yeah.
So great pick. Probably the best wrist shot of all time. I will take Stanley Cup champ Raymond Bourque.
Had him on my list as well. Well, Paul Coffey was there too. But
yeah.
A couple of great number 77s.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah. I always wondered that when I was just a little guy. I was like, wow, what are the two best D in the league? Why do they both wear 77?
Yeah. I'm okay with my
Ray Bourque.
That's my D pairing.
This unbelievable Boston Bruin for life, and then goes and wins that cup with Colorado, which was a cool moment.
Probably one of the most iconic moments.
Interesting that Colorado's retired his jersey after playing one year there.
Season.
Yeah. I wonder if Boston fans take exception to that. Like, I'd love to know.
Yeah. Well, I would say there's not many 77s out there, so nobody needs a number.
Yeah. I'm going to go back to the blue line and take another Scott. This one's a little more of a punishing player, Scott Stevens. One of my favorite to watch growing up. Just a hard hitter.
Okay.
And a great member of Team Canada many times.
I will go, I got the D. I will go Martin Brodeur in that.
I guess I know who I'm taking then.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple options.
Yeah, a couple options.
Marty Brodeur, one of the best of all time.
Brodeur. All right, so you still need a forward, eh?
Still need a forward.
And I'm going with my last forward here. he's playing pretty good these days. I'll go with Connor McDavid.
Connor McDavid. Okay, not bad. I am torn between the two forwards, but I am going to go right wing beside Gretzky and Crosby. I will go Jerome Iginla.
That's my guy.
Tough as nails.
Yeah.
I was going to go McKinnon. Probably still should, but I'm going to go Jerome Iginla.
Iginla was great in the 02 Olympics, and then, of course, set up the Iggy heard round. Ever watch that YouTube video? Iggy heard round the world. You got to watch it. I love that. I watch that over and over.
Yeah,
and then it's all the different different commentators from all over the world, and the golden goal in Vancouver. That was such a cool moment.
Yeah,
so,
very cool.
Yeah, and I'll finish it off with a Montreal Canadiens great. Could be one of two, right?
Yeah,
and he was also pretty good in Colorado. Patrick Roy.
Yeah. Also great in Quebec as a
very good in Quebec. You know, so funny story. I before the league kind of went digital, we get the lineups emailed to us, communications managers every game day. Now, from when the coaches submit their lineups, and that way we can send to the graphic designers and whatnot to figure out who the scratches are, who the line combos. I used to, one of my jobs when I first started was to go down and wait outside the room for the opposing coach with my little sheet and shy, waiting to excuse me, can I get your lines? And usually the coaches can be pretty grumpy at times and like, who are you? Just wait a second, don't come into our room. And there was one time Remparts were in town. For whatever reason, the opposing dressing room was not unlocked by the rink staff. And so Remparts they have lots of money, so they're always here early, stay the night in the hotel. They're always at the Prince George. Yep. So they were early waiting, and all the kids are waiting with their gear, trying to pile it up, can't get in, and I'm standing there with my lines, not knowing what's going on. And Patrick comes up to me and tell Bobby Smith to wake the F up. And I yelled at him. I was like, sorry, Mr. Wah, let's get somebody on this right away.
But before I do that, can I have your lines, please?
You mind getting the lines? I got to give them to Dom at the time, I guess it was. So it was, very intimidating. He's a scary man for a goalie. Yeah. But I think we saw his intensity when he was with the Remparts and head coach in the NHL, and that was my Patrick Roy moment. And now he's on my team.
Very good last overall pick.
Yeah, I think so.
Not bad.
All right, to recap, I take Lemieux, Sakic, McDavid for my forwards, Niedermeyer and Stevens on D, and Patrick Roy. You've got Gretzky, Crosby, and Iginla as your forwards, Coffey and Bourque and Brodeur.
Two pretty good lineups.
Pretty good. I think you could win some Canada Cups and some Olympic golds, I think, with those lineups. So, again, give us your all-time Canada starting lineup. We want to hear from you as well, and looking forward to that, and looking forward to getting into this interview now with Zach L'Heureux standing by from Mexico.
All
right. All right, we're joined today by a fan favorite from his days with the Mooseheads. He scored 163 points in a Halifax uniform, including a memorable playoff run in 2023. Became a first-round pick of the Nashville Predators and currently 16th in scoring by NHL rookies, and maybe more importantly, leads all NHL rookies in penalty minutes with 52. Welcome to the show, the one and only Zachary L'Heureux. Good to have you, Zach.
Hey, guys. Good to be here.
Now, you're coming to us live from Mexico. We should point out we're recording this Monday morning following the Super Bowl. You get to Mexico for one night, and then you agree to come on the show with us. So we're feeling very privileged.
Yeah. I mean, we've been trying to set this up now for a few weeks, and, I'm on break, so no excuses not to get up and do this with you guys. So just excited to get it going.
I would say down in Mexico, first night on vacation, there's probably lots of excuses not to wake up early in the morning to do this. So we do appreciate it. Did you watch Super Bowl last night?
I did until it was couldn't watch it anymore. I was probably more of a Chiefs fan. So after the third quarter, it wasn't football. I couldn't watch it.
Yeah, it was ugly. Halftime show. What'd you think of that?
I didn't mind it. I liked it. It was a little different, but I enjoyed it.
Tell us, you're down there with your girlfriend on this Mexico trip. No players from the team so far down there with you, eh?
No, not around here. There's a few guys I think that are on different resorts, and I think I'm in Cancun. There's some guys in Playa del Carmen. So just me and my girlfriend for this one.
So you keep it nice and tame.
Gonna try.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to your NHL career here in a little bit. I think we want to kind of kick things off, back playing for Team Quebec. 9 of the 18 first-round draft picks of the Q were on your team that year, and maybe just tell us about the experience before getting drafted by Moncton and being scouted.
Yeah, I think that's the first time, in my career that I was able to like compare myself on, a larger scale. You're always used to, playing in your own province of Quebec, and you don't really know what talents out there. You hear names and whatnot, but that was the first time I was able to experience, the maritime skill, the Ontario guys, all the Western guys, and you can compare yourself to them on the highest level. So I thought I was able to really excel in that tournament. Obviously we won gold, and I had a pretty good run there, and it was obviously a special tournament that I still remember today and think about sometimes. So I thought that was just really push me to finish off my midget, and do whatever I can to get drafted as high as I can, and obviously help push me into junior.
Yeah, great draft class that year. You go third overall to Moncton. Did you have any inkling beforehand that the Cats were coming after you?
I knew that they were interested. I hadn't really talked to them up until like I think it was the day before the draft. I had a sit down meeting with them in Quebec City. And I wasn't too sure what I wanted to do, if, I wanted to go, the college route, because I also had them knocking on the door. So everything was kind of up in the air up until, draft day. And obviously, the infrastructures and everything they had there, the setup was pretty special. And, they're one of the teams that I had circled on my list that, if I was to be drafted, I would go. So once I heard my name, it was awesome to walk up on stage, and yeah, from there it was a whole new journey.
From the Moose fans, we don't want to talk too much about Moncton. Obviously, a little bit of a rivalry, but first year, a very productive year. Just tell us about the transition going, from midget into into junior, and having such success at an early age.
Yeah, it was a big step. I remember, showing up to training camp pretty shy, not too sure what to expect. Well, I wouldn't say I was shy. I always
That's not in your
I always like to
vocabulary.
talk, but it was more like, you don't want to mess up. You're going from a full cage to a visor. You're playing. When you're in midget, you're 15 playing, 16, 17-year-olds, and there's a big, difference there. And, guys that are more mature, more physical, but once you're 16 playing against 20-year-olds, it's a whole different jump. So I think just getting used to that, and I think the transition went really, really well. I think I started off my junior career with an 11 game point streak, if I'm not mistaken, and things just went kind of seamlessly. And then obviously we had a really, really good team and a chance to win it all until COVID shut us down. But it was definitely a great experience to play there for my first year on such a good team. But obviously getting traded to Halifax after was not a disappointment. I was enjoyed every second that I played there, and the city and the fans, and it was obviously, I think what I can call home more than Moncton.
Yeah, I was going to bring up the pandemic. Moncton had such a great team that year. Yourself, you had Forte, you had Olivier Rodrigue in goal, a couple of former Mooseheads, Benoit Olivier Grew and Jared McIsaac come over in deals. I don't think there's a team that kind of got shafted more by the pandemic than the Wildcats, right?
I would agree with that. I think we'd have a league ring, and maybe a Mem Cup ring too, if we were able to play that one out. It was a pretty special group in that locker room that year, and obviously you see all the talent that went on to play pro, and we just dominated every night. It was probably the best team I've ever been a part of, that level. And obviously our cup run with the Mooseheads is pretty special too, but I would have loved to experience it with that group.
Now you talk about high level players that you get to play with. That year you go on to play on Team Canada, the U17 Blacks. You get to play with, Brant Clark and Shane Wright and these guys. Tell us about that experience and how meaningful that was.
Yeah, I think that was like the first time I got to, actually probably the only time I got to wear, that Canadian flag, and that maple leaf in a tournament play. Um, we had an unreal team. Like when you look on paper, we were stacked. Obviously, Canada sends 3 teams, so you never know how they're going to split it up. And everybody thought, we were going to be the team to beat and make it far, and that's just not what happened. We we went there and stank it up. It was not pretty. It just something didn't click. I had a horrible tournament. I remember, being pretty disappointed in myself, but at the end of the day, you try your hardest, you try to, represent your country in the best way. And, we're just kids trying to do that and just didn't go our way. So still a special tournament. And obviously all those guys that are on to, National Hockey League careers and, playing pro hockey and obviously still have a good relationship with a lot of them. So, yeah, just the tournament I'll remember, but it was not fun. We lost, I think, every game. I think we finished 7th out of 8. It was not pretty.
But you got to play for the probably one of the most famous video coaches of all time, in Joe Perricone.
Oh yeah,
That's a big
I
win.
love Big Joe. That was the first time I probably ever really met Joe, and then obviously coming to Halifax and building a bond with him. And we were out in Anaheim a couple weeks ago, and he came out to the game, so I got to see him and the kids and the family. So still keep in touch with him.
Were you surprised with such a big man and such a high voice?
Yeah, it's crazy. It doesn't add up.
Hell of a combo.
Yeah, speaking, you touched on the trade coming to Halifax with you and Elliot Denoyer, just massive move for the Mooseheads to make. And that was announced like right before the draft in June. But as a player, is that something you found out like when the original deals went down, Grew and McIsaac going to Moncton in January? Did you know that you'd be part of that, or did you not find out until the draft?
Oh yeah, I knew the second it happened.
Yeah.
That was a special experience. Obviously, you go from the first half of the year doing so well as a 16-year-old. It's you kind of don't really set too many expectations, but when you go from playing, first line minutes, you're one of the top scorers on your team as a 16-year-old on a team that's supposed to go so far, and then you hit the Christmas kind of trade deadline, and then we have a new coach coming in. We
Right.
add 4 or 5, unreal pieces, and you get told that you're no longer part of the plans. We're going to keep you for this year because we think you're a good player, but next year you're gone. And on top of that, it's like my minutes. I went from playing first line to fourth line overnight. It was a weird experience, but I think I took it on the chin. I took it like a champ, and I just worked my way back up the lineup. And I thought I had set myself up in a really good position right before COVID hit. But it was definitely a weird one for a player to know that going into the second half of the season.
Well, yeah, you got like 3 months or potentially 3 or 4 months of playing left, right? It's so, and knowing that
Yeah,
you're not
it
going to be with the
was.
team, so must be extra motivation though.
Yeah, a little bit.
Mm.
I think it can be used as an excuse sometimes too. When things weren't going my way, I thought maybe it was just because they knew I was gone. But at the end of the day, I didn't want to think about it that way either. So I think I use it as a motivation, like you said, and to my advantage.
Now, you come over to Halifax, you come over with Denoyer. You have guys coming through, Dume, Vidicek. You get Cataford the year after. Did you kind of know, all right, we're building something special here for a nice little run? Did you have a feeling with some of these guys? I mean, Dume, he's some of the points that he put up, it was crazy. But did you know that coming in?
I would say, I mean, I thought those guys were obviously coming in as 16-year-olds. They're good. I was, in my draft year, COVID was still around. We didn't even know if we were going to play that year. So I feel like just coming into the season, nobody was necessarily like as ready as they could be. Then we get told we're only playing, 2 teams. It was
There's a
it
lot of
was kind of
Charlottetown, a lot of
yeah, a
Charlottetown.
lot of Charlottetown, a lot of Cape Breton. I can't stand Cape Breton. Can't stand that place. I never want to go back unless it's
I'm
to
sure
golf.
they don't
So
want you back either.
exactly. But no, it was a weird year. It was hard to really, compare yourself when you're playing the same 2 teams. You don't know. Um, Obviously, me personally, it was, my draft year. I wanted to do as best I could to, get as drafted as high as I could. And it was just kind of one of those odd years. And then it ended, abrupt. It was, we were told one day that, that's it, our season's over, we're done. So it it was kind of a funny one. The OHL wasn't playing. Like, it was, I don't know how to really describe it, but it didn't feel like it was a season. It just felt like we were playing, pickup games every weekend.
Yeah.
So I thought once I turned, my 18-year-old years, that's when you can see, those all those guys that you said, like, Jordan Dume and Vidicek, and then we got Cataford, and you can see really their progression and how big they stepped up, and from there, we were still young and knew it was maybe going to take one more year before we had a really good push, but at the same time, you can see something was brewing.
I can imagine that Cape Breton felt the same way about the shinny games with you barreling down on the forecheck, ready to put someone through the boards.
Oh man, it was nuts. Like, I remember, like, we'd get like pounded by Charlottetown, and then the next night we'd have to go play Cape Breton, and then we'd pound Cape Breton, and then Cape Breton would lose everybody. So I'm sure they didn't enjoy any of it. And it was just like, and when you're playing the same guys 20 times, and obviously with my style of play, and Cape Breton and Charlottetown, they both had some chippy guys as well, and we'd go at it, man. It was nuts. And then obviously, with all the suspensions, and refs didn't know how to handle games, and I don't blame them. It was just like line brawls, and that's kind of how the season ended with the line brawl against Charlottetown. And it was just you can't expect much less when you have a lot of competitors going out there and battling so many times.
Guess the team kind of turned a corner after that season. You go from head coach JJ Daigneault, and then Sylvain Favreau comes in. Rousseau makes the team as a 17-year-old, and that's where you guys really started to take off, right?
Yeah, I agree. I think having Rooster come in nets, he was such a presence right away for a young, calm guy, like just such a typical goalie. And he was lights out from the moment I first saw him at my first training camp. I remember, I think he was just a 16-year-old, trying out, didn't make the team, but like everybody knew kind of that he had a chance, and that the following year he'd probably be our guy. So, having him and Brady James, on tandem is you know f- uh, unreal. And those guys did their jobs and made it easy for us to play in front of them.
Yeah, we got to talk about like the 22-23 season and that run to the playoffs. You miss like a good portion of the first half with an injury, right? You don't come back until November. I think 7 goals in your first 6 games, though, and then Josh Lawrence is added around that time in a trade. It was like 2 massive moves for the Mooseheads that you really again took off and become a dominant team.
Yeah, that was nuts. I mean, I got operated basically right at training camp. I was in Nashville, and had a lingering injury that flared up again, and unfortunately had to get operated pretty much right there on the spot.
Mm.
So missed the first couple months of the season. I wasn't around Halifax either. I was rehabbing back in Montreal. So you don't get to know your new teammates. You don't get to mingle and talk to the coaches, and obviously was watching games online, but it's not the same as being there. So when I came back to Halifax, I didn't really know what to expect. Obviously, you know the team, you see the success that they're having, and the guys that you played with in the past, but you never know from a season to another what's going to happen or how things are going to work out. But when I showed up, it was right to work. We were winning games, and everybody was playing well, and I thought I jumped right back into the groove of it and was playing well myself. And then, like you said, we add Alex Doucette, we add Josh Lawrence, and we just really took off from there. It was kind of nuts. What was it, the first time we have 350 goal scorers, all
Yeah,
these guys
it's
over
crazy.
100 points. I was kind of on the back burner, I was just trying to keep up, and it was not easy, but no, those guys were awesome. They're obviously a big part of the success that we had all year, and in the playoffs.
Yeah, speaking of Cape Breton, I think you had 1-1 in that first game back on the road against the Eagles.
Yeah, that first game back, I don't really remember that first one. I remember playing Blainville at home and having a big goal in that game. I think shorthanded. I think that was maybe one of my first games back at home.
Right.
But yeah, it was cool. I was just excited to be back. Obviously, after missing so much hockey, I think that's when you kind of realize how much you miss it and how much you love it. So it was just exciting to be back and playing for the Moose.
Then going into playoffs, you play your rival Cape Breton, sweep them in the first round, and then matched up against the old team. Walk us through the feelings going into that series. How excited were you absolutely dominated the series. But what are the feelings going in, and how much motivation did you have?
It was cool. Obviously that Cape Breton series, just to touch on, we swept, but everybody kind of stepped up. I didn't necessarily dominate that series. I thought, I played good hockey, but I had more in me. I had more, more jump for the team and could help a little more in every aspect of my game. So obviously going into that Moncton series with, the rivalry that we have with them and being my former team, I want to do anything I can to beat them. And that's pretty much exactly what we did. I think we lost the first game at home. It was kind of a couple fluky bounces, and we had. I think we went to the second game at home and just took over, and from there we ran with it. We went into their building and we had two pretty dominant wins, I'd say, and that was I think that's really when I knew I was going to be able to step up and be a huge part of the this run, and if we're going to make it far, I had to keep up that. The execution and that grittiness, competitiveness that I was bringing.
Yeah, 9 points for you in the series, but you were physically dominant as well. Just I wanted to go back to game two. There was a hit on Yuan Loshing as well that you get 5 in a game for charging. I distinctly remember you. Standing in the South Vom there, the exit by the glass, looking up at the replay, going, "What for?" and then and in the end, you don't get suspended because it was a clean hit, right?
Yeah, it was completely clean. I think, obviously he got caught with his head down, turning into a tough position, and I just, caught him clean. But obviously from the refs angle, they thought differently. I think my reputation doesn't help me, and that's something that I'm used to now, and it's happened at every single level. So there's nothing I can do about it. They're trying to do their jobs at the best of their ability, and I'm trying to do mine.
Yeah.
So just happy that it was closer to the end of the game, and I think we already pretty much had it in the bag, and didn't have to miss any extra after that as well. The league handled it in the right way. So yeah, it's part of the game. Stuff happens, and just happy that it didn't cost us any more than it could have.
Yeah, I know our photographer, Trevor McMillan, caught a really good picture of that as well that
Oh
we
yeah,
posted
awesome
later that
picture.
night. He was looking right at you and
Yeah,
it kind of explained the whole thing.
yeah. When you slow it down, you can clearly see that it wasn't charging or
Yeah.
anything like that, or a hit to the head. But I get it. The game happens fast, and the split second decisions. It's same for us as it is for the refs. So yeah,
But you had a
happens.
clean reputation anyway, so it's
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
I was on their good side. They've never had to worry about me.
refs are
So
big fans. Yeah. So moving into the Sherbrooke series, everyone's talked about it in the office for a couple years now. How good Rooster played throughout that series, just absolutely dominated. Shutout in the last game. Just
And
talk about
they were a good team too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just
oh yeah,
talk
they
about how
were.
good he was and how much he stepped up.
Yeah, I mean, obviously playing them, I think they come into our building and win two, and then we know we have to go into their building and do the same thing, or if we want to have a chance. And I think before the series, all the critics you read on Twitter and whatnot, and everybody had them. Nobody had us winning. It was always them, beating us in 5, 6, or whatever it was. And
Doucette had a great series too.
yeah, yeah. Well, just to touch on everything, it was, obviously we lose those two first games at home, and we didn't play necessarily our best hockey, and obviously you never want to lose at home that way. And I think everybody really had us counted out at that point, but I can remember, Sylvain Favreau, just getting us together, and I think we had some really, really good leadership in that locker room to make sure everybody was on the same page, and we knew what we had to do, and that's really when the Matisse Rousseau show started, and he was just lights out, going to a packed Sherbrooke barn. Their fans are pretty, wild and, screaming. And obviously, I think our fans traveled extremely well and had a lot of family from our guys from Quebec there. And, we felt that support as well. And we just went in there and did our job. I think it was back-to-back 4-1 wins in their building to a team that hadn't lost two at home all year. So it was pretty crazy. The room service. Sorry.
We got to keep this in.
Pardon?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you mind just doing it? I'm just on a call, if that's fine. But yeah, you can come in. Sorry about that. At
Did you
least it's
just
not live.
Bring him on.
Yeah.
He just got to restock my mini fridge.
Uh,
But yeah, basically, I can restart, or we can just pick up
No,
from
keep
where I
no,
going.
was.
keep
Keep
going.
going. This is on. This is staying.
So yeah, we basically, go in, win 4-1, obviously dominate wins. Russo lights out both games. And at that point, tie the series up. It's coming back at home. How are we gonna answer? We lost two at home. So what can we do now to take over? And that was probably the statement win that really pushed us over the edge. I think it was 5-0 or something like that at home. And everybody stepped up their game. I remember it was a physical game, and we just outbattled them, outwilled them in every aspect. Obviously, Rousseau made unreal saves to keep us in it, and it just kind of brought us back to 3-2. Now we have a chance to win it in their building again. To a team that hasn't lost two games in a row. See if we can make it three in a row at home for them. So it was a 1-0 win. I was, sitting in the penalty box watching Josh Lawrence skate across the whole ice and score that wraparound goal. I remember, seeing Russo sprawling to make a backdoor save on a tap in for Jacob Malasso, and just those little moments of the game that I'm gonna always remember because it was so special. And we couldn't believe it ourselves that we just won 1-0 on the road to clinch and make it to the finals. And it was just the excitement was awesome. And obviously coming back to Halifax, you can feel the buzz in the city, and the fans, and everybody was really excited for that finals against Quebec.
Yeah, the finals was just unbelievable series. It goes 6 games. We gotta talk about Game 6 and how it slipped away. Mooseheads up 3-1. Then Quebec comes back to tie at 3-3. You get the go-ahead goal with like 3 something remaining in regulation. Looks like we got it. And then how did it fall apart?
Yeah, that was a tough one. Obviously, still remember to this day. It was one of those meltdowns that are part of sports, and if we're on the other side of things, I'm sure it's a great story for a Ramparts fan
Yeah.
or player. So that's we battled so hard. We were faced with injury in the finals and being down, and coming back on. I think we were down 3-1, went on the road and got a huge win in a sold out barn. It was 18,000 people in the Videotron Center, and that can be pretty intimidating. And getting 2 wins on the road like that was huge. And then obviously Game 6 at home, which ended up being my last junior major game, and to get that goal and with 3 minutes left, like you said, and that place erupted. It was probably the loudest I've heard it, playing for the Moose. And would have wished we could have held on and made it to Game 7, but it wasn't the way it was written up. Kind of just, I think we kind of got carried away a little bit, and let them have a little bit of an offensive zone chance. I remember a guy just coming in, walking through the middle, had a chance to block it, just kind of skims by me, and Rooster just can't quite get there, and that happens. And then obviously the last goal is just kind of an unfortunate error. And but again, that's
Yeah.
hockey.
It just all happened so fast, right?
Exactly, things, it just happened so quickly that before we could even like take a breath and realize you know the game was over. That was it. But kudos to every single guy in that locker room. It was a special group to be a part of, and obviously being a leader and a guy that was able to elevate my game and in the playoffs, and when times mattered, was special for me. And I think everybody stepped up in big ways, and nobody had us making it that far even close. So just to have had the chance to battle with all those guys and make it, chance to win a ring. And that would have been a really special way to end my junior career. And unfortunately, it's not the way it was, but I still proud of, everything I did.
Now, you talk about getting to the end, how much you battle and how much you put into it. And, I'd say we kind of like to do the same thing on the business side, but Scotty battled basically to the end, kind of to the end, but I don't know if you know this or not, but Scotty's a big Swiftie. So I can let him tell the story about his final run with the team, but a massive Swiftie. So it does make sense.
We'll put it. My household is, and funny story. I missed Game 6 of the finals. Been with the team a long time. Very excited to be a part of that. And the Eras Tour was announced the previous fall. And my wife is a huge fan, has been since the early days. And she's tried for tickets. She said, how good are the Mooseheads going to be this year? This is the date. And I was like, oh, we're going to be good, but I don't know if we'll be that good. Like President's kind of like, we'd have to be
Doubters.
The very end.
Doubters. That's a bad start. Yeah.
I didn't know because the Mooseheads ended up kind of, the next year was really supposed to be the year, right? So they went ahead and added like Lawrence and Doucette, and we weren't sure if we're going to be major buyers at the deadline. And, by the time January hit, I'm sweating bullets every time and looking at the calendar. I remember emailing the league asking, what are the final schedule going to look like? And and then I find out, it's like, okay, game 6, if that happens, it'll be in Halifax. And so we went to Foxborough. I'm sitting in the nosebleeds at Foxborough watching our game on my phone, and my wife getting mad at me saying, like, stop that, you're going to be on a TikTok because there's going to be people like walking by like this guy's watching hockey on his phone. But it was heartbreaking to watch, heartbreaking not to be there because been around the team a long time and had a lot of people giving me jabs like, we're in the finals, man, and you're not there. But anyway, I missed it, and I'm sorry I missed your final junior game.
Yeah, it's fine if we lost. I think that's why. If you were in the building, maybe we would have won.
Yeah. It's Scotty's fault.
Moral of the story is family first.
Yeah. That's
fair enough.
If that's what you want to take,
yeah,
that's what you want to take out of it, Scotty. That's fine.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on from Taylor Swift. You after the Moose, you're off to the American Hockey League. You play your first year there with the Admirals to talk about that experience and what you learned your first year as a pro.
Yeah, it was a transition like no other. It's kind of the same when you're going from midget to junior. You're going from living at home to living with billets, and now you're going from living with billets to living on your own with I had a roommate, a teammate last year, but it's different. You're cooking, cleaning, you're doing everything, and obviously I think my parents and my billet parents, my billet mom, shout out Lindsay, has prepared me for that moment. And I was ready for it, and I think it was a transition. It took me a few months to get used to the game, the play. Obviously, you're playing with guys with families, and they're fighting for their lives now. It's not just a development league. Obviously, still is, and everybody wants to get to the National Hockey League. But these guys are making a good amount of money to go out there and do their job, and they're not going to let you just come there and step on their toes and take their spot. So obviously, I had to go there and battle, and I think I had a really really good training camp, and I think that kind of set me up for a little success and a little opportunity once I got to Milwaukee. And I took it and ran with it. It took me, like I said, I think a few months before I thought I was really really comfortable, but we had an unreal team. Ended up getting really really hot around early December, and then once January, February hit, we didn't lose a single game. So that was that was obviously pretty special to be a part of. And 19 in a row is something I don't think I'll ever do again in my career. And hopefully it does happen. But it was nuts. It was every night you're winning hockey games. It's fun atmosphere to be around, and yeah, it was definitely special.
Now you get down there, and there's a pretty interesting figure, up and down, but Yaroslav Askarov, the goalie. Russians are known as interesting people, I would say. Do you have any Askarov stories?
Uh, yeah, I mean that guy's awesome. Like obviously can get a little bit of heat sometimes, and but as a teammate, I loved him. Got the chance to play him the other night in San Jose and talk to him and see him, and just happy he's doing well. But he's wild. Like he's off. He's just typical goalie. Like he's not even like he doesn't even hold his glove the regular side. He's like switch. Then just was so good, like so good. And both our goalies that year were unreal. But he was just like just the saves he made sometimes, and the way he played the puck, and he'd get himself in trouble and just make up for it with a huge wild save, and that felt like it was like on a nightly occurrence. But I can't think of too many wild stories that I can say on here. But no, he was just an awesome guy, great teammate, and he was a big part of the wins that we had there.
They get the call to the show for your first full season this year. You walk into a room with guys like Stammer and O'Reilly, Forsberg, Josie. Schenn. How intimidating is it to walk into a room full of NHL vets like that? Is that, I know, again, you're not a shy guy, so maybe you take it a little bit better than some others.
Yeah, you try to be a pro. It's these guys have been around the league so many years, and have had the you know we have Conn Smythe winners and Stanley Cup champions and Norris Trophy winners and stuff. So I got the opportunity to go on a little golf trip before the end of training camp. I wasn't one of the first guys cut, and I think we were maybe two or three extra forwards and a couple extra defensemen, and we kind of all went on this golf trip. And I thought that was the first time I kind of got to speak to these guys and see them on a more personal level, and see just how they are as people, not hockey players. And I think that just helped me a lot when I first came up. I obviously had a little bit of a relationship with everybody, and the guys were so welcoming, and just were excited for me, obviously, and knew that the kind of player I was and what I can bring to the team and help with the success of the team. And yeah, it was a little intimidating. You don't want to. Obviously, I'm a loud, energetic guy. They told me they brought me in for energy, and I knew that's what I wanted to bring. So you know, I can be a little noisy sometimes, and I know that. And obviously, you want to pick and choose your moments, but I think I've done a good job so far of that. And it's now playing on the team for a little longer as well. Like I've got really really good relationships, I feel like, with everybody, and I just want to be a good teammate every night.
And I think was it your first game that we see the video of the golden shovel being passed around? They hand it to you and you talk. What was that moment like in the room there?
Yeah, I mean, the team hadn't won. It was a tough start to the year. And at that point, they tried to call me up to bring some energy, and we go in at home. I remember that first game at Bridgestone, wearing that gold jersey, and obviously playing, Boston Bruins, and the David Pasternaks, and obviously Brad Marchand, who I kind of modeled my game after a little bit. So it was really special, and I just went out there and did my job. I remember, I think it was my second shift into the game, like having like four hits on one shift, just trying to be a wrecking ball. And I think the guys really noticed that. And obviously Yossi was handing out the shovels the first time of the year that we had that. And to get it was even special, even more special. It was just didn't really know what to say. I was not expecting it all. We had a 4-0 win. Could have went to a goalie, anybody who had a goal or a point, but obviously to pick me, it was cool.
And so you go on, you end up scoring your first goal, and kids dream about it all their lives. But just tell us about that moment and how special that was.
Yeah, it was awesome. Obviously in Vancouver, so in Canada. I didn't have any family in town or nothing, but it had been, I'd say, probably close to 15 games. I don't know if you guys have the stat on that, but it was
Got it
not
somewhere.
not it was not in my first few games, so I was getting a little anxious about it and was thinking, man, is it ever going to happen, or am I going to get sent down before I get to score my first goal after all this opportunity? And we were having a rookie party that night on top of it, so it was no better opportunity. I remember talking with another one of our young guys, Evangelista, and how I think he had one of his first assists or something on before rookie night, and it just sets you up for a good time. And obviously getting the 2 points was the big thing, but scoring that goal was unreal. It was just a open net, tap in, get lost on the back door. Classic. I wish it was between the legs, bar down, but I'll take anything. At that point, I was going to take anything.
Did
So,
you did you end up for rookie party? Did you end up at the famous Roxy?
not that night. No, we didn't.
Okay,
We didn't go to the Roxy.
not
We just
that
had a
night,
little.
but another one.
No, I checked it out once. We had a little opportunity there, so had to go and check out the famous Roxy.
Yeah.
You become I feel like Preds, you're like their social media darling. You see a lot of your face on their things, and recently your dad kind of became the darling. The dad trip. Talk about that. What you guys do as a team with your fathers and on that trip, and get to see some of his pictures online.
Oh yeah, he was fired up the whole week leading up to it. He was texting me every day, like, hey, is the flight's okay? Or what do I need to bring? Like, what's the schedule? I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, flight seems good. Like, bring clothes and you're here for 3 days. I don't know what you're going to be doing. Obviously, you're going to be at the games, but it was awesome. And, I think I get a lot of my personality from my father, and for him to be on his first dad's trip. My mom's had the opportunity a couple times now to have mom's trips, and we had one last year in the American League, and he's extremely jealous to say the least, and he's been waiting for this moment for a while. So just getting on that plane, and he's got his phone out videotaping everything. It's pouring rain out, and they're already taking pictures of us, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, put it away. And I think the social media team ate it up pretty quickly, and everybody was able to kind of see where I get my personality from. And yeah, he enjoyed it, had a blast. Unfortunately, lost both games, which is less than ideal, but at the same time, I'm sure it's something that he'll remember now forever.
Yeah, what types of things do they do with you and the dads on those trips?
Well, we went to Buffalo and Pittsburgh, so not necessarily the greatest
Interesting spots. Yeah.
Not
places,
Vegas.
but at the end of the day, we're there to play hockey anyways. So for us, it's, we had the opportunity to go out for a nice team dinner with all the dads and the staff, and, a lot of the staff brought their dads. So it was a nice big team dinner. And um, after that, the next day, you're into your game day routine. So the dads are there for all the meetings and, morning skate, pictures, and
Mhm.
that's really cool. But then after that, it's like, kick rocks. I got to go take a nap and get ready.
Yeah, back to
So
business.
Great that you're here, but see ya.
yeah, I think they all got on a bus and went to Niagara Falls that day in Buffalo, and it was a foggy day. So I think they were there like 20 minutes, couldn't see anything. He told me it's like right back on the bus, and obviously boozing all day, and having a blast and just getting on the jet with us, and he had fun, that's for sure.
Good.
Now, I'm gonna put you on the spot here. The number 42. Do you know what that has significance in your career or your hockey career?
Nope.
No? Okay. So 42 is the amount of games throughout your Q career, your AHL, and your NHL. Games that you've been suspended. So
It's a dirty one.
yeah. But you
42. I thought it was higher than that.
Well, yeah, you're actually proud of that. That's good.
Oh boy, that's
Yeah,
a lot of games.
You'll have
That's
to
a
get
lot
that
of
up.
games.
Yeah. See if you can hit 50. But
No, maybe one day, but not this year.
you're a bit of a unicorn in the game. You got some other guys that kind of play the same style, but not many, especially in the Q, and then less at the NHL. But who did you talked about Marchand, but who did you model your game around? And what's the motivation like every night to come in and play that style?
It's hard. I mean, there's a reason why there's not a lot of guys that play the way I play. I think having that, hard skill and soft skill is a talent, and I wouldn't say I'm, the best at anything, but I think I can be pretty good at a lot of different things. And I think guys, like Matthew Tkachuk, like I said, Brad Marchand, even, a Tom Wilson, who's maybe a little bigger, but still brings that hard nosed, gritty game. It's going to be in your face, hard forechecks, stick battles, wall work, all that hard skill that can be tough, and guys don't like doing it sometimes. But then it's also the soft skill. It's the hands in front of the net. It's picking your corner on a shot, and I think that's another side of the game that obviously getting to the NHL level is a lot harder. And for me personally, finding that balance and that effectiveness every night, and really bringing it has not been easy. But at the same time, I feel like I've been doing a good job, finding finding it, and I have been able to showcase that hard and soft skill, most nights, and that's what my focus is on, and obviously showing that I can do it consistently and on a nightly basis, that they want to keep me for a long time.
Yeah, I think that's the style. It really resonates with fans. I know it does with me. Like it just looks like a player that like gives a damn, right? They're out there. Pure skill is great, but when you see somebody maybe just slapping the stick and then going off and avoiding all contact, when you see somebody that looks like they're giving it their all, their heart and soul every time they're out there, and has the skill to score too. It's the type of player. Jerome McGinley was my favorite player growing up. Maybe didn't. Walk the edge, play on the edge quite as much, but was tough SOB at times, and no, and then Marchand, Tkachuk, yourself. I love watching that style of hockey, and I think that's what made you a fan favorite in Halifax too.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's kind of just been my identity for my whole life. It's the only way I know how to play the game. And I think when you look at a hockey team, you need a mix of both. You need, skill guys that can, fill the net, play the power play and all that. But you also need guys that can, grit it up and go out there and be physical and wear teams down. And if I can bring a little bit of both and, always have an effect every night, because I know I'm not always going to score goals and big plays. And obviously, we have a lot of talent in our locker room now that I don't need to be doing that either. So if I can just focus on my job and, having something effective, something positive towards the team every night, I know I'm doing my job and I'm doing it right. So I think, having the skill set that I have and obviously the mindset as well is, it's going out there every night with, if it's on the PK getting a huge block, or if it's, 2 minutes left in the game and we need to get a puck out of the zone after, a few icing calls, and, it's my opportunity. I know it's going to be a one-on-one battle setup or something, and I want to get that puck out of the zone. I want to have a difference that way as well. So, yeah, I think it's just I've been able to, get trust from my coach, and he's been able to play me in every situation, and obviously just building that as well.
Yeah, it's off to a great start for you in Nashville for sure, and we're enjoying watching it. You touched on your billets a little earlier too, Andrew and Lindsay Sim. Obviously, still close with them, right? Let's talk about that relationship and their kids as well.
Yeah, I've obviously very close. Spent 3 years of my life there, and all the moments of going to their hockey games and being with the kids, and they obviously still call me and we keep in touch a lot. So we have a great relationship, and all the sacrifice and effort that they put towards me to make sure I was comfortable. And from day one it was always anything that they can do to help, and making me lunches for school, and just little things, that I really, really appreciated. And obviously not having them now and living on my own, I appreciate even more. So no, they're extremely special. They're, second family to me. And, obviously anytime I can go visit them, I try to. And yeah, obviously seeing the kids grow up and, through hockey and school, and just becoming, teenagers now, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Anybody else you still stay in touch with from back in your Halifax days?
Obviously, ex-teammates. I feel like I talked to a decent amount of my ex-teammates and whatnot. So any touch I can have with Halifax, and now that my girlfriend's from there, so visit a lot in the summer. Last summer was a little shorter, so only made it out for like 5 days, and who knows this summer, but hopefully can make it out for a few weeks, and maybe get some golf in and enjoy the beach.
I was curious. Scotty told me that you're a big Country Liberty fan, and we got Sawyer Hannay was on. He's the owner of Country Liberty, and he's living down in Nashville. I was curious if you got in touch with him.
Yeah, I've had a few chats with him. He was able to send me a couple hats after my debut, and obviously I love their brand. I was able to, get a toque I think when I was 16 in junior. He was good buddies with Jared McIsaac and kind of sent our team a whole box. And then in Halifax, I think my last year we were able to get a few Country Liberty hats as well. So love the brand. I think they got really, really good merch, and he's an awesome dude. So I've had a chance to chat with him a few times.
He should give you an endorsement.
Yeah.
A
I
little extra
agree.
cash.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I
We
don't even need
just
the cash. Just keep sending me merch. Somewhere.
Well, do you want to finish off with our quick hits?
quick hits.
All
Go
right.
ahead,
Well, we won't
Scotty.
keep you much longer
do
here,
it.
but yeah. So we get with 10 questions, and you just rapid fire here.
Boom.
Most talented player you've ever played with.
Jordan Dume.
Funniest player. Take that, Stamkos. Funniest player you ever played with.
Stephen Davis.
Agreed. Hardest coach you played for.
Ooh. Uh, John Torchetti.
Worst QMJHL rink you played in.
There's a couple. Baie-Comeau.
Favorite playoff series by the Mooseheads.
I'm gonna say our year against the Sherbrooke, the Phoenix. That was cool.
Favorite team to beat in the Q.
Say Cape Breton.
Favorite teammate ever?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I always love playing with my boy Denoye.
Least favorite ref in your Q career?
I
Apolo-
can't say.
All of the
Uh,
above.
yeah,
all of
apologies
the
in
above,
advance to the
yeah.
refs. Toughest player you ever fought?
Ooh, um, probably Yakov Trenin.
And we'll finish it off with favorite bar in Nashville.
Ooh, Kid Rock's Honky Tonk.
Right on. All right. Thank you, Zach. That wraps it up. Live from Mexico, Zachary
Yeah.
L'Heureux joining us. I appreciate you taking the time, and no, this has been awesome.
Oh no, I've enjoyed it. So thanks for having me, guys.
Awesome. Thanks, Zach.
Oh, great to have Zach on the show. Just a quality guy, and looking forward to seeing how his NHL career develops.
Yeah, we're off to a great start already. But the biggest thank you is coming in from Mexico.
Yeah.
Again.
Made time for us.
Made time for us.
Attaboy,
Good
Zach.
man.
No, appreciate it. Or happy. We should call him happy. Everybody calls him happy. That's what L'Heureux means.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is
Great guy.
great guy is right, and one that we'll always remember here in Halifax. Right, that he still got some ties here as well. So, yeah, Zach, thank you very much. Don't forget, we got an Alex Tanguay one coming up in a future episode as well. Looking forward to chatting with Alex. And with that, we'll wrap up episode 7 here. This is Moose Country, the official podcast of your Halifax Mooseheads. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure that you subscribe, like, and hit that bell button to let you know when the next episode is coming your way.
And if you're listening on your favorite podcast platform, make sure you subscribe, give us 5 stars, and leave us a review.